Now that we have the base Groom, we have a working Groom network. Now we want to build out the additional pieces to call this mullet a success. We still have a few pieces to go. So we can do the process over from scratch, or we can duplicate an entire network with a simple copy and paste and update a few nodes, and we'll have an additional piece. Now, since we're using the same geometry, we don't need to duplicate the hair growth geo, but let's copy the rest and it'll maintain its connections to the existing node. So if we activate the scatter node, we want to update the area of growth. So the way that we do that, we go to the texture node, update the name to hair left, update the map. So now that we have the updated growth area, we need to create a new groom node, call it hair left groom. And I have some NURBS curves that I previously created, and they're my NURBS curves with the base flush with the surface. What I'm going to do is add these curves to the groom node. So select the groom node first, Control Shift select the curves, add selected curves to groom. Now if we hide the NURBS curves, we have an updated groom. So now let's go back to the Yeti network and update the groom import node and update the name hair left and select the new groom node. We're not seeing it in the list because we have not added it to the Yeti node. So let's go to the attribute editor, graph, input grooms, add groom, hair left, select. Now back to the graph editor, select hair left. Now we have a new piece. We might still have to update some settings. In this case, since we don't have the part, we don't need this attribute node, so let's connect that back. Delete the variable. Same thing over here. And I would still like to update the clump settings so that they work a little bit better for this piece. But we could come back around to that after we build out the additional pieces. So let's jump ahead in time. So here we are. We have created the remaining pieces of the Kurt mullet. So now if we wanted to see all of these pieces together, we create a merge node. Pretty simple. You take the network root, plug it into the first input, grab the next one into the second input, and we'll see them together for the first time. So let's do this for the rest of the pieces. So after we edit a few merge nodes, here is where we stand so far. So again, the idea here is that we want to build all the pieces and then we'll go back in and refine the areas to get the final look. So let's take a break from the main hair and start to build out the facial hair. Let's start with the eyebrows. So we want to get eyebrows that are neutral, or you're having to push the facial features to compensate for the built-in expression in the eyebrows. So I'm going to go ahead and replace the eyebrows with new geometry. And here we go. So now that we have the geometry, let's jump over to Mudbox so that we can paint the eyebrow density maps. So let's go ahead and do that next.